Hi everybody, my name is Karen Fabian and I'm the founder of Bare Bones Yoga. And I thought what I would do today is a quick video going through a couple of poses using a framework for cues. Now, some of you may have been at my most recent free workshop where I presented on effective cueing. And if you've missed this workshop, I can actually send you the replay. So all you need to do is email me at karen@barebonesyoga.com and I'm happy to send you the replay of that workshop. Now in that workshop, I went over all the different kinds of cues you can give and then presented frameworks. A framework is a really powerful way to share your cues because it organizes your thoughts. So it gives you as a teacher so much more energy and such a sense of calm rather than constantly feeling like you're not sure what you're supposed to say. And for your students, it helps the cues land on them so much better. They'll understand so much more of what you're trying to convey because how you're sharing your thoughts will be much more organized. So it really works out well for both parties. Now, one of the frameworks I love is to share action cues followed by an anatomy cue. Now, let me preface this by saying, if you don't understand anatomy, this definitely isn't a format you like to use or you should use. However, if you know anatomy and you can speak to the concentric actions of muscles in poses, this would be a really good way to teach your students something about the posture and also a way to work in some of the anatomy. Now, why might we want to do that? Well, if students understand when they're doing a pose, what muscles are actually engaging in a concentric way to create certain actions that are part of the posture, like straightening a leg or opening a shoulder or lengthening the spine, that can be really helpful for them. It makes the pose really come to life. It allows them to strengthen muscles that might be somewhat weakened, maybe from postural challenges or other things, and it really helps pull your teaching together so that it's making more of an impact than just the literal posture they're doing. It's actually teaching them something about their bodies. Now, let's face it, there are a lot of teachers out there who, for numerous reasons, haven't learned anatomy correctly. And so they're out there and they're using cues that they really don't understand, but they're using them anyway. This is a very different approach. This is one where I'm only suggesting you speak to the anatomy if you can truly stand up for what you know. Meaning, if someone came up to you after class and said, "Hey, why did you use that cue?" you could explain it. Now, truthfully, if you know in your heart that you're not at that place yet when it comes to understanding anatomy, stick with action cues. That is a great way to teach. It's a very powerful way for the practice to land on your students' bodies, to help them understand what you're trying to convey. It can still be a really powerful, effective way to teach. However, if you're at the point where you're learning anatomy and you want to start to drop in some cues that are anatomy-based cues, this is a way to do it. So let's take a look at just some basic postures. I'll do maybe a little bit of a sequence and I'll speak to it as if I were teaching a class. I'll be doing it, of course, which I definitely wouldn't be doing if I were teaching. I don't practice with my classes. But for this demo, I'll talk you through how I would teach it. Come into your hands and knees. Allow your head to drop down. Take a deep breath in and exhale out. Now, come up onto your hands and your knees and press into the mat. As you press into the mat, I want you to draw your belly button in towards your spine. That's the rectus abdominis muscle starting to engage. Now, see if you can pull your belly button into your spine enough that your spine starts to round. So now we're flexing through the spine. So what if we did the opposite? Let's extend the spine. Let's drop down. Slightly lift the chin. Now hold at the top here. See if you can roll open through the shoulders. Now, this is external rotation. We're using some muscles in the back of the shoulder. Do you feel anything happening there? Okay, do it again. Pull in, activate that rectus abdominis. Pull in, round the spine. And then drop down. Press your heart forward. So this is opening through the shoulders. Do you feel any of that? Does it feel like some lengthening across the front of the chest? Now for downward dog, take your hands out a little further, tuck your toes, and lift your hips. Press away from the mat. Keep pressing away, and as you do, roll the inner eyes of the elbows forward. As you roll the inner eyes of the elbows forward, see if you feel that rotation of your upper arm bones. You're using some muscles in the back of your shoulder. We're trying to activate those muscles there. Bring your feet together and lift your right leg and press back through your heel. Now engage the muscles of your thigh, your quadricep. Keep pressing through your heel and then switch sides. Press back through your heel. Activate the muscles in your thigh, your quadriceps, and then step your left foot forward, step your right foot forward, and come up to stand. Reach your arms up, and then bring your hands to your heart. Right, so you're getting a sense of it. I'm integrating action cues with anatomy cues. Reach your arms up high, bring your feet together, bend your knees. Now bring your hands to your heart center and hug your thighs in close together. See if you feel some activation there, right? We're strengthening the muscles of the inner thighs, your adductors. Sit a little lower and twist. Now, as you twist, keep turning from your center, right? We're using obliques here to create that rotation. Twist a little more, and then forward fold. Reach your arms all the way up to the sky. Sit low, right? So now bending your knees, bring your hands to your heart center. Keep hugging your legs in close, turning on those adductors of the hips. Sit a little more, and then twist. Right, now can you feel that rotation happening from the middle of your body? Right, these oblique muscles are helping us create that rotation, and then fold. Sweep up all the way, and then bring your hands to your heart. All right, so I'm going to do one more, which is a balancing posture. I'll speak to the lateral hip stabilizers. Bring your right foot to your thigh, bring your hands to your heart. All right, now as you stand in the pose, root down into your standing leg. Take your arms up. Now keep hugging the outer hips in, rooting into your leg. Do you feel your pelvis level? Right, we're using some muscles on the outer hips to keep the pelvis level even as we stand on one leg. Hug in a little more, and then bring your foot to the floor. All right, so I hope that gives you a sense of one way that you can integrate anatomy-based cues with action cues to provide a complete experience for the student where they're hearing from you, here's things I want you to do to get into the pose, combined with when they're in the pose, here are some things that are at work while you're in this posture. Now, because of this kind of demonstrating scenario that I'm doing for you here, I added a whole bunch of stuff. You might not, and I don't think I would even teach in this way with so much anatomy. It'd be more kind of mixed in. So some postures I might teach with all action cues, some postures I might add in an anatomy cue, some postures I might have a feeling-based cue or an alignment cue. So you definitely don't want to overload your students with anatomy-based cueing. But I wanted to present a lot of them in this video here to give you a sense of how this all comes out in what you say. And keep in mind, the what you say has to be informed by what you know. It's a very different experience for both you as a teacher and your students if you're just repeating stuff somebody told you to say, or maybe you are watching this YouTube video and you figure, oh, I'll just go and say that. I don't want you to do that. I want you to learn the anatomy so that you can actually say in your own words the cues that you're going to share. That's a much more powerful way to teach. You're teaching from integrity because you're not just copying people. And you will sound so much more confident when you are sharing the cues. And then the best thing is, if someone asks you a question, you don't have to lean on that tired excuse of, that's what I was trained to say. You can actually have a conversation with somebody about the anatomy, about what they're feeling, about the posture. And that's so much more meaningful for the both of you. And that's the kind of stuff that will just make your teaching like light up, and you will just be filled with joy for having those kinds of conversations with your students. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. Keep in mind, as I said, I did a whole workshop over this past weekend about my effective cueing protocol or format, and I would love to share that with you if you're interested. To get it, just send me an email, Karen@barebonesyoga.com. You can even just comment on this video, and I'm happy to send you that presentation. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. And one more thing, I'm starting to add my podcast episodes to my YouTube channel. So you can listen to my podcast on iTunes or Podbean, or you can watch the most recent episode right here on YouTube. The name of the podcast is Conversations for Yoga Teachers. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.